Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm taking you through about 10 interview questions that can be asked. If you are looking forward to start your teacher training, it means this is the time to apply. Usually around May, June, applications are open and then you go through the interview process and then you are selected to start your training in September. So I thought it wise to do this video to take you through some of the questions that I was asked during my interview. Last year by this time, I was in the process of applying to start my teacher training and it was elaborate. I have a list that I've put together of the questions that I was asked during my interview, and I want to be able to go through all these questions and not leave anyone out. So it might be a little more than 10. So guys, stick and stay. I'll be right back. If you are new here, my name is Rita Siao. I am an educator, a public speaker, and the author of You're Unstoppable. I also founded a non-profit organization called Feminine Star Africa to empower young women and girls. My channel is focused on personal development, living and working in the UK, relationship, marriage, a little bit of, motivation. So if these are the sort of videos you are looking for, I welcome you to stay. Thanks to all of you, my returning subscribers, and thank you if you are new here. I welcome you to stay by subscribing and also clicking on your notification bell so that anytime a new video is up, you will receive an alert from me. The first question I remember I was asked was, tell us a little bit about your background. When you are asked this question, they are literally asking you to tell them something relating to working with children, working in the field of education, anything about you that is related to working in teaching, working with children, or working with the youth. So don't go and tell them about all your career history. It's not necessary. What they want to know is that you have a background that is related to the teacher training that you are coming for. So make sure in answering this question, you are focused on that. In my answers, I mentioned about training as a teacher, working as a teacher for 8 years in Ghana, working here in the UK as a teaching assistant for a couple of years, and then working in a nursery as early years educator as well for a year, and how I work with the youth in my church back home in Ghana, back here as well, some of the activities I do with them, and some of the responsibilities that comes with working with children, which I've done in my past. These were the answers that I gave. So look at your background. See what you've done in your past career and what you are even currently still doing in the field of education or with children or with the youth, and focus on mentioning these things. This question I was asked was, why do you want to become a teacher? This is a question that you will definitely be asked. Why do you want to become a teacher? Why have you chosen to train as a teacher? These are the questions that you'll be asked. In answering this question, I would advise you to focus on your motivation and personal experiences that you have had in life that might be the reasons why you desperately want to be a teacher. Personally, in answering this question, I focused on two areas: my personal experience and my motivation. I mentioned how in my earlier years of education, I met teachers who made me lost my self-confidence and didn't believe in myself because of how some lessons were taught and some of the ways they managed behavior and stuff, which really put fear in me. And then along the way, how I met other teachers who really made me fall in love, especially with a subject like mathematics. These were my personal experience. I mentioned this, and my motivation as well is the fact that personally I love working with children and I want to see children develop and grow, and I've done this work, and the joy and fulfillment I get from it is just immeasurable. So personally, that has been my motivation, to make impact in the lives of children, use myself as an instrument to make impact in their lives, and also create opportunities for them to be able to experience education the way that I did not experience. These were the two things I merged together to answer this question. The third question is, what qualities makes a good teacher? Or it can be turned the other way to say, what qualities do you have that makes you think you would be a great teacher? So when they ask these two questions, it's the same thing they are asking for. In answering this question, you need to focus on your personal characteristics that makes you stand out. Some of the characteristics that I personally mentioned included being patient, being reflective, because these are personally things that I know that I have. Being empathic, being a good listener, and being resourceful, These are all characteristics that you can mention, but you first of all have to look at who you are and what characteristics that you possess that you feel would help you make a great teacher. The fourth question I was asked was, how will you manage challenging behaviors? And to answer that question, personally, I focused on the fact that I've worked with pupils who had different sort of SEN needs, and for that matter, understanding some of the triggers that makes them get into that position or that state of having a very difficult behavior, and also knowing the source of the behavior. Understanding the source of the behavior and the triggers would help handle or manage some such behaviors. I also talked about using the school's behavior management policy and following it through and ensuring that behavior is checked, and also modeling the behavior that I want my pupils to put up in class. So I am serving as an example, but you have to think about this. If there are challenging behaviors, how are you going to manage them? They just want to know how you would manage situations that may get out of control or situations that may be a little bit difficult. And you can also answer this question by giving examples of maybe situations you've been in or difficult behaviors you've been in and how you manage that situation. The next question they asked was actually a 2-in-1 question. They asked, what are some of the challenges that I know teachers were experiencing and how can I manage such challenges? In answering this question, I would advise that you touch on at least 2 or 3 challenges that you know teachers go through in modern day, in recent times, which you've probably heard in the news, and also talk about some of the ways that you are personally going to handle such challenges should you face them in your training or in your work as a teacher. So for me, what I did was that I talked about workload of teachers, because I've been a teacher before and I had that experience and I knew how I managed it. Always have my lesson plans in place, always working ahead of time, planning ahead of time and managing my time, so these were some of the things that I mentioned. Another question that I was asked was, why did I choose this age group to train to teach? And the age group I chose was 5 to 11 years. So they were asking me why this age group and not any other age group. So for me, in answering that question, it's more relative to you. It's personal. It's something that you have to think through and see why you want to teach that year group. Yeah. So for me, what I did was that I made them aware that I've taught this year group before, and it comes easy to me working with them. I bring myself to their level to be able to explain lessons to them easily, to be able to demonstrate and show them what I'm really teaching, and that I find teaching this year group very interesting. So this was my personal response, and I think I mentioned a few things as well, giving personal examples as in how I've done this before. So you have to answer this question in a way that it personally relates to you. All right, guys, somebody's interrupting me, so let's else today I'm not going to be able to do this video, so I'll just manage it and keep it going. Yeah, right. Thank you. Can you go and finish your drawing? You want to do your coloring? Okay. Thank you. If I remember right, another question I was asked was, what skills or talent do I have that I'll bring on board to the training? As in the other colleagues and people you're going to be meeting in the training, what skills do you have that would be useful to them? I think one of the things that I personally mentioned was public speaking, my teamwork, skills of teamwork. And I also touched on the fact that I've worked with people from diverse backgrounds, which gives me that skills of being able to, immerse myself wherever I find myself, learning from people and also sharing experiences with other people to help them. So that's how I answered this question. So you have to look at yourself and see, what do you have that you are bringing on board? What talents do you have? What skills do you have that you are bringing on board, which would help? Especially the fact that you are training with other people. You will definitely be having group discussion, and you will definitely be having maybe group assignments, which you'll be doing. This is why you need to answer this question critically, because they want to know how much of a team player you are. Another question that I was asked was, why did you choose this particular training provider? In answering that question, I remembered I ahead of time, ahead of the interview and everything, I went to their website to check a little bit about them. I read great reviews on their website. I read about the percentage of people who get jobs after training with them. Read about the school or the training provider that you're going to be training with, and get to know what makes them stand out, what makes them valuable. What do you appreciate about them? What about them is attracting you to go and train with them? And I also talked about proximity, how close they are to me, the closeness, because I didn't want to commute too far, and the closest one available was them. Go and check out the school, your university, check out their website, read about them, and pick out some of the things that makes you feel like this is it for me. This is why I want to study with you and be able to answer these questions. The other question I was asked is, what challenges do I think I'll be encountering in doing this training? And that question is actually for them to know whether you have some challenges or some issues that they might be able to help you with. So in answering that, I made them aware that I'm a parent and I have a daughter who is less than 2 years old. So it means that commuting too far will be too much of a work for me. And the fact that in doing this training, it will be a lot of work managing family, my child, and the studies together. But then I also looked at the positive side of it, telling them how resilient I am, how hardworking I am, how committed I am to having a better life, and the fact that I am ready to put in all the work and the effort to make this work. I also touch on the fact that I have a great support system, which is my husband and my family, who are there to support me in case of any difficulties. What are some of the challenges you might encounter? And look at the positive side as well. Who do you have that would help you? What skills, what potentials do you have that would help you overcome these challenges? How would you manage these challenges? That's all they want to know. I was also asked the question, how would you make a classroom inclusive? And that means including all pupils. So I had to look back at, how do I make the classroom very engaging for every child? How do I adapt lessons to meet the needs of all children? Diversity and inclusion and equality and equity, making sure that all pupils are not given the same support, but pupils are given support based on their needs. So last but not the least, which is also something very, very important that all interviews would ask you, is about safeguarding. What do you know about safeguarding? Safeguarding is very, very important because it is all about well-being of the children that you're training to go and work with. So asking you this question, they want to find out what you know about safeguarding. So let them know what you know about safeguarding, the rules and regulations regarding safeguarding, how to report safeguarding concerns, and who to talk to in a situation of safeguarding issue. And that is it. If you find this video very useful, I encourage you to please subscribe to this channel, and also do not hesitate to turn on your notification bell so that anytime a new video is up, you'll receive alerts from me. Thank you, and see you in my next video.